Before they became the patron saints of noise rock, before the major labels and festival headlining slots, Sonic Youth were a band lurking in the dark corners of New York underground. And in 1985, they released Bad Moon Rising, an album that captured both the decay of America and the restless experimentation of a band on the verge of something bigger. Hi, I'm Andy Fenstermaker, host of Poetic Wax, a weekly music history series and podcast where I dig into the record collection I've been building since the 1990s to explore the sometimes little-told history of a band, album, or song from within. Today we're digging into the story of Bad Moon Rising, an album where nightmares unfold under flickering streetlights and noise becomes poetry. It's an album that captured the dark side of America all the way back in 1985, a side that has come kind of crashing home in full force in 2025. Let's dig in.
A communist? No, I'm not a communist. I'm a capitalist. I'm not a very good capitalist, but I guess I'm a capitalist because I live in America.
Sonic Youth formed in 1981, emerging from the ashes of New York's no-wave scene, a movement that rejected traditional rock structures in favor of chaos, dissonance, and raw energy. Thurston Moore, Kim Gordon, Lee Ranaldo, and Bob Burt absorbed these influences but were drawn to something more hypnotic, something that could transform noise into narrative.
We tend to record material pretty much right after we make it. It really changes radically as we play. It just sort of documents the music at one stage, and, it'd be nice to do some recording after the material had really been played a lot and gotten a lot looser.
After their first few releases, including Confusion is Sex and the Kill Your Idols EP, Sonic Youth began refining their approach. Their use of alternate guitar tunings and prepared instruments created a unique, detuned landscape, an eerie blend of beauty and unease. But they weren't satisfied completely. They wanted to tell a bigger story, and that story would be Bad Moon Rising. Released in March of 1985, Bad Moon Rising was kind of a concept album of sorts. Less a collection of songs and more an unbroken journey through a haunted dystopian America. Its title, borrowed from a Creedence Clearwater Revival song of the same name, hinted at a different kind of apocalypse, urban decay, and the ghost of American pop culture, something they'd explore further on their album Sister. And one rooted in the tension of Reagan-era paranoia.
Reagan doubled taxes on working people. He doubled the Social Security tax. He raised income taxes on working people. He radically lowered from 74% down to 28% taxes on rich people.
Unlike traditional punk, which often reacted with speed and aggression, Bad Moon Rising responded with something slower and more unsettling. Each track bleeds into the next, forming this seamless piece of music that feels like a long, feverish hallucination. But why does it feel this way? The album plays like a slow-burning nightmare, one where the boundaries between reality and illusion blur. Sonic Youth were tapping into a broader artistic movement, one that included the work of underground filmmakers like Judith Berry and Richard Kern. Berry's immersive, disorienting video installations and Kern's raw, confrontational no-wave cinema both aimed to shake audiences out of complacency, much like Bad Moon Rising does with its droning guitars and hypnotic repetition. And speaking of no-wave cinema, Lydia Lunch, the high priestess of underground nihilism, also appears on the album's most chaotic track, Death Valley 69. The video for which was actually directed by Judith Berry and Richard Kern. Her spoken word intensity had already helped define the aesthetic of New York's darker fringe, and here she injects that same raw, feverish energy into Sonic Youth's growing vision. Like the films of Kern and Berry, the album unsettles, lingers, and distorts our perception of time.
It's not like we're not really heavily into gore and sadomasochism or anything. It's more, it's much more like the cartoon aspect of that. It's not like,
Bad Moon Rising is an experience that pulls you in and refuses to let you go. Just like a fever dream, it plays tricks on the mind, disorienting the familiar and leaving behind an unshakable sense of unease. Let's break it down further. Bad Moon Rising opens with intro and Brave Men Run. Both set the tone with shimmering guitars and Kim Gordon's detached, almost ghostly delivery. It's Sonic Youth stretching out, establishing atmosphere before chaos. Then comes Society in a Whole, a hypnotic looming mantra that feels like an eerie existential statement about American consumerism and alienation. But it's I Love Her All the Time where the album takes a dreamlike turn, a slow, droning piece with haunting harmonies. It's one of the first glimpses of Sonic Youth's ability to turn repetition into transcendence. And then we have Ghost Bitch, Kim Gordon's surreal spoken word performance over jangling metallic guitars. It's part beat poetry, part haunted house soundtrack, and entirely mesmerizing. Justice's Might and Secret Girl continue the album's descent into a dark hypnotic void, leading to its final two defining moments. And it's here we get Death Valley 69, the album's chaotic climax, featuring the unmistakable presence, once again, of Lydia Lunch, the no-wave icon whose snarling vocals turn the song into a nihilistic anthem.
Coming down, Sadie, I love it. Now, 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 Death Valley 69.
Inspired by the Manson family murders, it is violent, frantic, and unrelenting. It ends up being one of Sonic Youth's first great moments of cathartic destruction. Upon release, Bad Moon Rising didn't break through commercially, but it became a critical stepping stone. It marked the moment Sonic Youth fully embraced their identity, not just as noise experimenters, but as storytellers of a decaying culture. It also caught the attention of SST Records, home of Black Flag, Husker Du, and Minutemen, leading to Sonic Youth's next album, Evil, the real beginning of their rise. But Bad Moon Rising remains something different. It's a world unto itself, an eerie, slow-burning nightmare that still lingers decades later, and in many ways, its ghost has only grown stronger. Today, America is more divided than ever, trapped in this hyper-partisan storm of identity battles, of online outrage, and ideological trench warfare. The themes of Bad Moon Rising, paranoia, media decay, disillusionment, feel even more relevant in 2025 than they did back in 1985.
The press is something you can't rely on. The press, the press is really fickle. You can't rely on it.
The album's tension mirrors the way modern culture wars unfold. A slow-burning dread, a distortion of reality, a disorientation, and an unrelenting sense of something coming undone. Sonic Youth weren't just documenting a specific moment of the 1980s, they were unknowingly composing a soundtrack for an era yet to come. Sonic Youth would go on to change the face of alternative music, but Bad Moon Rising was the bridge between chaos and composition, between New York's underground and the world beyond. It's an album of atmosphere, of mood, and of feeling. A glimpse of America forever haunted by its own ghosts. Ghosts that we just can never seem to shake.